The 60th anniversary of D-Day, called one of the most outstanding flying operations of the Second World War. The first daring assault on Normandy involved 3 wooden gliders. They landed troops who captured a vital bridge from the Germans, which allowed the Allied invasion to take place. The French later renamed it Pegasus Bridge to recognise it as the first place in France to be liberated. Our correspondent Nicholas Witchell tells the extraordinary story of 2 of the men who were at the forefront of the D-Day operation.
They have got on with it, haven't they?
Oh, well done.
Meet the D-Day stealth pilots on a journey into the past.
Yes,
Gee,
indeed.
full scales too.
The men are Peter Boyle and Jeff Barkway,
Pity it won't fly.
and they're face to face with a full-scale replica of the aircraft they flew into France in the first moments of D-Day.
Even got a piece of undercarriage.
The Germans never heard them coming because the aircraft was a 7-ton glider.
First pilots used to sit this side, but for the operation we swapped over because we were turning to the right all the time, and so they put me on the right-hand seat.
There were no helicopters in those days, of course, so gliders were the most effective way of dropping small numbers of troops quickly and quietly. With 28 soldiers in the back, Jeff and Peter and 2 other gliders were towed across the Channel. At around midnight on the 5th of June, the gliders were cast adrift to fly the final leg to their target.
You can take off today, Peter.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
you can earn your money.
60 years later, the memories come flooding back.
Ready for takeoff? Yes. It's a good landing if you walk away from it.
Co-pilot Peter Boyle was 22 on D-Day. His task that night was to navigate. His equipment was about as rudimentary as it gets.
I had a board about that size, and top right-hand corner was a stopwatch. There was a prepared map of the area fastened to the board, and I had a small battery here and a tiny light. It was minute light, but it was just enough to be able to see.
At about 15 minutes after midnight, the gliders were right on target over the bridge. At the controls, the then 20-year-old Jeff Barkway made the final turns and prepared for landing.
There was this crash. The front of the cockpit just disintegrated. We shot through what was left of the front of the cockpit into the water. And I thought there's not much future in staying underwater, so I better get out. I struggled out, and Peter says I dragged him out as well.
These photographs show the gliders after they'd landed. All the pilots had accomplished the aeronautical equivalent of landing on a sixpence. This is the landing site where the gliders came in, and it is remarkably small. The river is a few yards over there, the canal on that side. This plinth marks the spot where the glider flown by Staff Sergeants Barkway and Boyle came to rest. About 100 yards from their target, the bridge over the Caen Canal. The bridge was taken. The Germans were prevented from rushing tank divisions to the beaches when the seaborne landings began a few hours later. The operation didn't just spearhead D-Day, it safeguarded it.
I'd already christened it the VC job. If somebody had come to me now and said, you're going to take a wooden aeroplane with no engines, fly it 6 miles in the dark and land in a field half the size of a football pitch, I would ask to be excused, you know. But in those days you couldn't, could you? You couldn't. No.
You see, yeah.
No, in those days there was no excusing yourself. Jeff Barkway lost his right arm in the operation. Peter Boyle went on to fly troops into Arnhem. 2 remarkable men among many. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News, with the pilots of Pegasus Bridge.